At the fragile edge where the waking world slowed and night began its quiet seep, there lay a place unseen by most, the archive of lost reveries. It was neither a realm of shadow nor dream but rather a calm expanse folded gently between moments, a sanctuary for the delicate fragments that slip unnoticed from the grasp of memory and hope. The archive waited, patient beyond measure, its presence woven into the turning of twilight, where time seemed to linger just long enough for those who sought it to find their way. The entrance was no door, no archway carved in stone, but a subtle shimmer along the horizon, like a faint breath held by the air itself. This portal revealed itself only when the sky wore the softest hues of dusk, a moment when light and dark held hands in quiet harmony. The faintest ripple across the atmosphere, a gentle pulse felt beneath the skin, and the veil would part, revealing the archive's secret threshold. Few had seen it, and fewer still knew to trust the call that whispered through the fading light. It was a passage that required not keys or maps, but a heart attuned to the faint echoes of forgotten hopes. Beyond this threshold, the archive unfolded like a vast cathedral of stillness, its vastness both intimate and endless. The air was thick with a subtle fragrance, part dust, part evening rain, and part something indefinably old, a scent that spoke of countless reveries held in quiet repose. Soft glimmers of fading light drifted like fireflies caught in the gentle currents of air, illuminating aisles that curved and stretched beyond sight. These aisles were lined with shelves, worn smooth by the passing of time and countless gentle hands, each shelf a haven for the delicate treasures housed within. The archive's holdings were unlike those of any earthly library. Glass jars with lids sealed softly by time held the shimmer of dreams once dreamt and then left behind. Faded scrolls, their edges curled and fragile, bore the faint marks of unspoken wishes and words never voiced aloud. Fragile photographs, blurred and softened as if remembered through a mist, captured moments too tender or elusive to find place elsewhere. Delicate chests, small and ornate, contained the remnants of reveries long unnoticed, fragments of imagination abandoned at the crossroads of intention and distraction. These objects were not mere relics but vessels, each carefully chosen and crafted to cradle the essence of what had slipped quietly away. They pulsed faintly with an inner light, a soft glow born of the reveries they contained. They held the weight of things forgotten not out of neglect but because the world, in its haste, had no space for such fragile things. Here in the archive they found rest and waiting, their presence a gentle reminder that even forgotten dreams held value beyond measure. The architecture of the archive itself seemed alive in its stillness. Shelves curved like the gentle swell of a wave, guiding visitors deeper into the sanctuary's heart. The floor, smooth and cool beneath bare feet, bore the faintest impressions of footsteps long past, as if the very stones remembered those who had once walked these aisles in search of what had been lost. Above, the ceiling stretched into a vault of soft twilight, neither fully dark nor bright, where faint stars glimmered like distant promises. Within this quiet vastness, the archive exhaled a steady rhythm, a pulse that matched the slow breathing of the world beyond its walls. It did not rush or demand but offered a space where time folded and unfolded with gentle grace. Those who entered felt this immediately, a softening of the edges, a settling of the heart, as if stepping into a place where the weight of forgetting could be lifted, even if only for a moment. The archive was eternal in its patience, a sanctuary that neither hurried nor yielded to the passing of days. It was both protector and witness, holding the delicate threads of reveries that had drifted away from their owners, waiting for the right moment or the right seeker to reclaim them. Its concealment was subtle, woven into the fabric of twilight, so that only those who truly needed its sanctuary found their way through the shimmering veil. Inside, faint whispers floated on the air like the softest breeze, echoes of hopes once held close, dreams half-formed and then set aside, wishes that had never found their voice. These whispers were not burdens but gentle calls, invitations to remember, to touch again the fragile beauty of what had been quietly left behind. They moved with a softness that seemed to brush against the skin like the caress of a long-lost memory. The shelves themselves seemed to lean inward slightly, as if embracing the treasures they held. Each glass jar caught the fading light and transformed it, reflecting glimmers of the dreams within, some bright and shimmering with the light of pure hope, others dim and flickering like candle flames about to be extinguished. The faded scrolls bore their delicate script in quiet silence, their words waiting patiently to be read and heard once more. Photographs, softened by time, revealed glimpses of faces in places that hovered on the edge of remembrance, their edges blurred like the soft outlines of a dream upon waking. The chests were the archive's secret keepers, small and delicate, carved from wood that seemed to pulse faintly with a hidden warmth. Inside them rested the most tender reveries, imaginings abandoned not out of loss but because they belonged to a time that had quietly slipped away. They waited here untouched by the rush of the world, safe in their stillness. No labels marked these vessels, no signs directed the way. The archive did not need them. Instead, it relied on the subtle language of longing and recognition, the delicate dance between seeker and dream. Those who came here carried with them a quiet yearning, a thread of remembering that guided their steps through the aisles. The archive answered with a gentle warmth, a sense of welcome that wrapped around them like a soft shawl. The archive of lost reveries was a place of hushed reverence, where the delicate and the forgotten found refuge. It was neither grand nor ostentatious but held a quiet dignity in its simplicity. It was a sanctuary for the small fragile things that the world often overlooked. The soft sigh of a hope unspoken, the fading glow of a dream deferred, the gentle pulse of a wish left waiting. Here in this hidden realm between dusk and night, these reveries rested, cradled by the archive's eternal patience, waiting for the touch of a gentle hand to awaken them once more. Among the quiet aisles where glass jars caught the twilight and faded scrolls whispered softly, Alara moved with a grace born of long familiarity. She was the archive's custodian, though the word felt too simple to capture the gentle weight of her presence. She wore no badge nor banner, only a soft cloak woven from threads the color of evening mist, its edges frayed as if touched by 1,000 quiet moments. Her hands, slender and steady, held the memory of every reverie they had ever cradled, and her eyes held a calm that seemed to listen not just to sound but to the very pulse of the archive itself. Each evening, as the sky deepened into the soft hues of dusk, Alara performed her ritual. She kindled lanterns, small orbs of warm, golden light that floated like miniature suns above the shelves, casting gentle pools of illumination that did not disturb the archive's delicate stillness, but rather invited it to breathe more deeply. With a slow and deliberate hand, she opened an ancient tome, its pages thick and yellowed with age, and inscribed the passing of time with ink that shimmered faintly in the lantern light. This ledger was more than record. It was a living testament, a quiet song of nights past and visitors welcomed, of dreams gathered and returned. As Alara moved through the aisles, the lost dreams drifted silently toward her, carried on the whispering currents of twilight air. They were not burdensome nor urgent, but delicate threads of light and warmth that settled gently around her like a soft cloak. These lost reveries were unlike fears or regrets. They were the fragile remnants of hopes once held close, unspoken wishes left adrift, and imaginings abandoned before they could find form. They came with no demand, only a quiet yearning to be noticed, to be heard, to be held again. Alara's art was that of listening, not with hurried ears but with the patient stillness of a lake reflecting the sky. Each lost reverie sang its own unique tone, a subtle vibration that only she could discern. Sometimes it was a melody faint and sweet, like the echo of laughter carried on a summer breeze. Other times a soft glow like the flicker of candlelight in a distant window. Her task was delicate, to find the perfect vessel, the glass jar or fragile scroll or delicate chest that would best cradle the essence of each reverie, preserving its light and warmth without dimming its fragile beauty. She moved with reverence, her fingers tracing the edges of vessels as if coaxing a secret from their silence. The choice was never random but an intuitive match between the reverie's voice and the vessel's embrace. Some dreams settled easily into glass jars, their light shimmering behind lids sealed with a whisper of time. Others required the softness of scrolls, where words, once whispered and then forgotten, could breathe again. The most tender imaginings found refuge within small chests, their carved wood a gentle cradle for dreams too fragile for open air. Alara knew the archive as one might know a beloved ancient friend. Its mood subtle but profound, its presence a steady anchor in the shifting tides of time. She understood that the lost reveries were not ghosts to be chased away but companions to be cherished. They were the quiet echoes of lives lived in the spaces between moments, the silent wishes left unspoken at the edges of memory. They carried no blame nor sorrow, only the soft ache of absence and the faint hope of return. Some reveries were born of hope, a child's wish for a star to shine just a little brighter, a silent promise made on a morning breeze, a dream of kindness offered but never spoken aloud. Others were simpler still, moments of peace caught between the rush of days, the soft comfort of a touch remembered only in passing. Alara gathered these with a gentle smile, her heart attuned to the fragile beauty they held. The archive itself seemed to respond to Alara's care. Lanterns twinkled brighter, shelves seemed to lean in closer, and the air grew thick with the soft pulse of reveries settling into place. The light within the vessels deepened, casting faint glimmers that danced like fireflies caught in a still night. The archive breathed with a quiet joy. Its eternal patience fulfilled anew with each reverie welcomed and preserved. Alara's presence was the delicate bridge between loss and remembrance, a keeper of the spaces where forgotten hopes could find sanctuary. She did not rush the process, for the archive taught patience. Only when a reverie was ready did it reveal its true voice, and only then did Alara extend her hand to receive it. It was a dance of timing and trust, a quiet communion between seeker and sanctuary. At times Alara paused to listen more deeply, her eyes closing as the archive's whispers wove through her like a soft song. She could feel the gentle weight of a dream unspoken, the faint shimmer of a hope not yet lost, the tender pulse of an imagining waiting to be born. These moments were the archive's heart, the meeting place where past and future touched, where reveries found their place between shadow and light. Each night as she moved through the aisles, Alara collected these fragile threads with care, placing them gently into their vessels. Her hands remembered the shape of every jar, the texture of every scroll, the warmth of every chest. She was both guardian and guide, honoring the delicate nature of what had been lost without judgment or haste. Her role extended beyond preservation. It was also one of quiet restoration. By holding these reveries safe, Alara offered them a chance to be called upon once more, to be remembered, to be cherished, to be made whole again. She understood that some would return to their owners, while others might rest indefinitely, their light a gentle presence in the archive's eternal embrace. As the lanterns flickered softly around her, Alara leaned close to a jar shimmering with the glow of a dream half forgotten. She whispered a silent greeting, a promise to keep its light safe until the time came for it to shine again. The archive, in its vast stillness, responded with a faint pulse, a quiet affirmation that here, in this hidden sanctuary, lost reveries were never truly gone. With the passing of each night, Alara's presence wove deeper into the archive's fabric, a living thread of kindness and patience. She was the gentle custodian of dreams that might otherwise drift forever beyond reach, the quiet witness to the tender dance between memory and forgetting. And as the soft glow of lantern light mingled with the fading twilight, the archive breathed in harmony with her, an eternal sanctuary where lost reveries found their way home. One evening, as the lanterns cast their golden glow across the archive's softly curved aisles, a traveler arrived. He stepped through the shimmering veil with quiet hesitation, his eyes searching the gentle light as though it might hold the warmth he sought. He carried no heavy burdens, only a faint ache, a yearning for the warmth of a forgotten sunset, a moment of light that had slipped away unnoticed in the rush of countless days. Alara greeted him with a calm nod, her presence steady and kind. Without words, she guided him deeper into the archive, where the shelves bent gently beneath the weight of countless lost reveries. The air was thick with the faint hum of dreams waiting to be reclaimed, but among them, one glimmered with an unmistakable radiance, a shimmering jar filled with a soft amber light that flickered like the last glow of twilight. She reached for it carefully, the glass cool and smooth beneath her fingers, and offered it to the traveler. As he accepted the jar, the warmth within seemed to pulse gently, spreading through his hands and up into his chest. His eyes closed and a quiet awe settled over his face as the memory of that sunset unfurled within him, the golden hues spilling over hills, the soft hush of evening settling on the world, the delicate balance between light and shadow that had once filled him with peace. The traveler lingered in that moment, held gently by the light he had thought lost forever. When he opened his eyes again, they shone with a quiet gratitude, the ache softened by the rekindled glow. Alara watched without interruption, understanding that the process was sacred and deeply personal, a reunion not just of memory but of the heart. Soon after, a woman entered the archive, her footsteps light and tentative. She carried a longing that was different, more elusive, a search for a melody from her childhood, a tune that had danced through her earliest days but now hovered just beyond reach. Her fingers brushed the air as if trying to catch the faintest notes, and Alara's eyes softened in recognition. Guiding her gently, Elara led her to a narrow shelf where delicate scrolls rested like fragile petals. Among them, one scroll lay curled and pale, its edges worn by time yet still holding the faintest trace of music within its fibers. With reverent care, Elara handed it to the woman, who unrolled it slowly. As the notes whispered to her, a smile bloomed, soft and tentative at first, then broader as the melody filled the quiet air, weaving through the archive like a gentle breeze. The woman's breath caught in her throat, tears glistening in her eyes, and Elara simply stood beside her, sharing the silent joy of rediscovery. It was a moment suspended between past and present, where a faded dream found its voice once more. Elara's understanding of the archive's mission was as deep as the well of twilight that cradled it. She knew that those who came were seekers not just of memories but of connection, threads that tied the scattered pieces of their inner worlds back into a fragile whole. The archive was more than a repository. It was a sanctuary where lost reveries could be gently coaxed back to life, where the fragile light of forgotten hopes might be rekindled. She moved among the visitors with quiet attentiveness, sensing the unique nature of each lost reverie and the way it called out for recognition. Some came with questions unspoken, some with hearts heavy and others with a lightness born of tentative hope. For all, Elara offered a steady presence, a guide through the archive's delicate labyrinth where reveries waited patiently to be found. In the soft glow of lantern light, she witnessed the subtle transformations, the way a stranger's eyes brightened with the return of a long-lost moment, the gentle unfolding of a smile as a melody resounded once again, the quiet peace that settled over those who touched the fragile vessels cradling their dreams. Each encounter was a quiet miracle, a testament to the archive's gentle purpose. Elara knew that the archive held more than just the fragments of individual lives. It held the collective breath of countless hopes and dreams, each one a thread in the vast tapestry of human longing. Through her care, these threads were not lost but woven anew, fragile yet enduring. As the night deepened and visitors departed, carrying with them the rekindled glow of their reveries, Elara lingered in the archive's stillness. She moved among the vessels, her fingers brushing the surfaces with a tenderness born of understanding. Each glass jar, scroll, and chest pulsed faintly under her touch, a silent thank you whispered in the language of light and shadow. The archive, in its eternal patience, welcomed all who sought its sanctuary. For some it was a place of gentle reunion, for others a quiet beginning, and for Elara it was the sacred space where lost reveries found their way home, cradled once more in the gentle arms of remembered dreams. With the passing of seasons, the archive shifted gently in its moods, as though breathing in rhythm with the world beyond its hidden walls. Winter descended softly, wrapping the space in a quiet hush that settled like fresh snow on the aisles and vessels that held the fragile reveries. During these months, the dreams that drifted in were often reflective, tinted with a pale silver sadness or the soft warmth of memories tucked away in the folds of time. They moved slower here with a delicate gravity, inviting visitors and keeper alike to linger in stillness and contemplation. The lanterns glowed with a softer light in winter, their golden hues dimmed to match the archive's quieter pulse. Elara noticed how the reveries themselves seemed to nestle deeper into their vessels. Glass jars cradled dreams of long-forgotten winter mornings, scrolls unfurled to reveal the gentle echo of a lullaby sung beside a cold window, and chests held imaginings of firesides and whispered words shared beneath heavy blankets of snow. These moments, tender and subdued, were reveries that asked not for brightness but for gentle remembrance, a honoring of what had been quietly held in the heart. As spring breathed life back into the world outside, the archive responded with a subtle awakening. The air grew lighter, and a soft fragrance of new growth seemed to filter through the stillness. Reveries arrived with a livelier pulse, dreams of beginnings, of possibility, of the tender stirrings of hope yet to be fully formed. Elara observed how the vessels responded, their inner light brightening just so, as if catching the first hints of morning sun. Bound volumes, thick and heavy with stories, began to reveal their pages more willingly, offering glimpses of once-lived moments that shimmered with the freshness of rebirth. Summer brought a warmth that infused the archive with a gentle vibrancy. The lanterns glowed brighter, their light mingling with the subtle shimmer of reveries filled with laughter, adventure, and the vivid colors of wildflowers in long sunlit days. Visitors came with hearts open, carrying the echoes of vivid, hopeful visions and the spark of dreams thriving in the heat of possibility. The archive, ever patient, held these dreams with a kind of joyful reverence, its aisles alive with the soft murmur of anticipation. Yet not all reveries were light or bright. Some carried the weight of sorrow, tinged with the soft ache of regret or loss. Elara had learned the delicate art of discerning which dreams were to be preserved, and which were to be gently released back into the quiet folds of time. Not all memories were meant to remain. Some needed to be freed, their light fading slowly until they became part of the archive's breath, neither forgotten nor grasped too tightly. It was a tender balance, honoring the past without allowing it to shadow the present. The changing seasons taught visitors to honor the slow unfolding of their own inner worlds. They learned that some dreams needed the stillness of winter before they could bloom, that others required the warmth of summer to flourish fully. Elara witnessed these transformations with quiet awe, understanding that the archive was more than a place of safekeeping. It was a mirror reflecting the cycles of the heart, the ebb and flow of hope and memory. Bound volumes, often overlooked in the soft glow of lantern light, held the stories of once-lived moments, their pages revealing scenes only when the reveries within were ready. Elara would sometimes trace her fingers along their spines, feeling the subtle pulse beneath the leather covers, a heartbeat waiting to be heard. These books were repositories of lives lived in quiet corners, of laughter and tears folded into the margins of pages. When opened, they offered visitors a chance to walk gently through moments long past but never truly gone. The archive's atmosphere shifted with the seasons, sometimes a sanctuary of deep reflection, other times a vibrant haven of rediscovered joy. Visitors learned to move with its rhythm, to trust the slow unfolding of their own reveries as they found their way through the aisles. Elara's role was to guide without rushing, to hold space for the delicate dance between remembering and letting go. In the soft light of a late autumn evening, as golden leaves whispered outside the hidden walls, Elara paused beside a chest that seemed to pulse faintly with a sorrowful light. It held a dream tinged with regret, a memory of a promise never kept and words left unspoken. She cradled the chest gently, knowing that this reverie needed careful tending, not to be locked away forever but to be eased into the archive's gentle embrace until its light could soften and fade on its own terms. The archive's eternal patience was its greatest gift. It taught that some reveries were like seeds, requiring time, care, and the right conditions to grow or rest. It was a place where the slow unfolding of the heart's landscape was honored without haste or judgment. Visitors left with a new understanding of their own inner worlds, carrying with them the quiet wisdom of the archive's cycles. And through it all, Elara moved with unwavering grace, her hands and heart attuned to the delicate shifts of light and shadow within the archive. She was the keeper of its seasons, the gentle guardian of reveries that lived and breathed in the spaces between memory and forgetting. Her presence wove a steady thread through the archive's vastness, a quiet promise that every lost dream would find its place and every reverie its time. On a quiet evening when the lanterns glimmered softly and the archive breathed its familiar, steady rhythm, visitors moved among the aisles, each carrying a fragile longing. An elder, stooped but steady, approached a shelf where a small glass jar pulsed with a gentle light. It held the memory of a first embrace, a moment suspended in time, warm and tender as a breath held close to the heart. His fingers trembled slightly as he lifted the jar, and the light spilled softly into his hands, filling him with a warmth that spoke of years folded into a single, perfect instant. He closed his eyes, and for a moment, the years melted away, leaving only the quiet joy of that first touch. Nearby, a young poet wandered with a quiet intensity, searching for the spark that had eluded her throughout the day. Elara watched as the poet's gaze settled on a delicate scroll, its edges faded but its essence alive with the glow of a perfect day, one filled with the kind of light and shadow that inspired verses yet unwritten. The poet reached out, fingers trembling with hope, and as the scroll unfurled, a gentle warmth spread through the room. The spark she sought was there, nestled within the fine script, waiting to be rediscovered. Her lips parted in a soft smile, and her eyes shone with renewed purpose. The archive accepted each visitor with the same patient grace, its aisles holding the whispered hopes and gentle longings that had found refuge within its walls. It was a place of both holding and giving, where lost dreams were cradled until the moment came to return, to be recalled, cherished and carried forth once more. Elara moved among them with quiet reverence, her hands steady and her heart open, offering what was needed without haste or expectation. As the lanterns flickered and the evening deepened, Ilara began her final rounds. She moved with a practiced ease, extinguishing each orb of light with a soft breath, letting the archive's natural twilight reclaim its space. The fading glow did not dim the archive's presence but returned it to its serene stillness. A realm folded gently into the edge of the waking world, waiting patiently until called upon again. The portal shimmered softly, its edges blurring like mist drawn back by the coming night. The archive withdrew from sight, its vastness contracting into a quiet sanctuary that held its treasures in trust. Ilara paused for a moment, her fingers resting lightly on a bound volume that pulsed with a faint afterglow, a silent promise that the stories within would wait patiently for the next seeker. She stepped back, her cloak brushing softly against the smooth floor, and with a final glance she allowed the doorway to close. The archive settled into its eternal calm, complete and unseen, a faithful guardian of dreams too delicate for the bustling world beyond. Within the quiet, the archive breathed softly, its shelves rich with the memories and hopes entrusted to its care. It was a sanctuary of forgotten dreams and whispered hopes, a place where light flickered gently in the spaces between shadow and remembrance. The mountain, the valley, the twilight air, all held their breath in harmony, honoring the archive's eternal vigil. And as night fell softly, covering everything like a gentle snowfall, the archive and its keeper rested quietly, wrapped in the calm that needed no witness, holding the fragile light of lost reveries safely until the dawn would call them forth once more.